TT. It's TT Talks back at it again with another episode. I'm your host, Keziah.
It's your boy Gibby, man.
It's Janelle.
And Blondell, what's poppin'?
What it is.
Okay, just to let you guys know, remember that auditions will be announced for Mr. Brooks AT talent show
Not
slash
talent
not
show.
talent show.
Not talent show.
You know, so just be on the lookout for that.
Special day.
Are we gonna
9th.
ignore the fact that we're in a whole new... We changed
Yeah,
up
yes.
the
We
scenery.
Change of
upgraded.
scenery.
Did you not
Upgraded.
see the tablecloth?
I'm not gonna
We
touch the
have
board because it's my
tablecloth,
third time
boys.
messing
We're
it
about
up.
the
Official.
issues on the audio. That's fixed. Don't worry about that. You see the TT Talks in the
Yes.
background. Come
I'm
on.
not gonna touch the
We
board
does
because I
this.
messed it up
Episode
like 3
3
times.
already.
And I got
Upgraded.
yelled at 3 times. Bye, Blondo.
I mean,
and
whose
everybody
fault
else.
was
So,
it?
It was your fault.
It was your fault.
clearly, you see what I'm saying? I just said I got yelled
Okay,
at.
well,
I
then
never,
don't do
I
it
never
next
blamed
time.
anyone else.
Is anybody yelling?
No, for real.
Gibby.
I'm the only person. I'm the only person.
Okay.
But yeah, so we got a new place looking a lot better. So
Looking more
very
professional,
cute.
as
Chic.
Mr. Frazier would say.
This is a new permanent
More
residence.
prestigious.
you gotta stop
Prestigious,
saying that.
prestigious.
It's crazy how in freshman year we low-key hated that word prestigious, but then it just started to grow on us.
I mean, I still don't like
Because
the
it
word
catches
of the-
on.
I
Because
don't-
that's what
You're
we
gonna say it,
are.
though.
I mean,
I
used to
don't
like-
say it
when I
unless
play
he's
Call
here.
of Duty, like prestige.
You said
so
what?
When I used to play Call of Duty, you know, we prestige. So I kind of like the word.
that was the most nerd thing.
No, for real.
You
Like,
have
Do y'all
ever
not like
said.
Call of Duty?
I have,
Obviously
but
not.
like it's not like I play Call of Duty. Oh my god! So I'm like, yo, what? You-
okay. All right.
Are you really talking about being a nerd right now?
You want to let her try you like that, Blondell?
This is every episode.
Every episode.
Oh my
Every
God.
single
Every
episode.
episode.
Every episode.
Oh, wow.
It's about that
Okay.
she's closer to me now, so she can definitely get on me.
That's the funny thing about it. It like he really be like this high, like digital tech stuff too.
Exactly, because I'm just sitting, I'm like,
Blondell come in, start talking about all this
calling
stuff.
somebody a nerd? What?
What?
So Blondell, how you doing in the March Madness, man?
Oh, yeah.
Why is this every episode?
Every episode.
Every single
We
episode.
didn't even get into it yet. We didn't even
We
get
didn't even start
into
talking
it.
about it yet.
Because I is dying.
question.
It's the big breath. He's like you just know he's preparing his life.
So, apparently,
Okay.
So
Go on.
apparently-
At least lie together. Like you break it
apparently
apart.
they had to take me off the team because it was too much of a
Yeah, but I didn't see
advantage.
you on the first.
I didn't
We
even
gotta
see you
play
on the
first.
I didn't even
bench.
see your
We gotta play
practice.
first. Yeah, I didn't play a snap, by the way.
We played. You see, I forgot the team. Like I said in last episode, in episode 2, you gotta watch that. That my manager handles it, so it don't matter what
You
team
played
Oh,
I
the
in
stay
name
the
of your
game.
manager?
Wait
By the
a
way,
minute.
The name of your manager?
He
His
played
name-
in the game. How you don't know?
What do you mean? Huh?
You're in the game. How
Yeah.
you
No,
don't
remember
know
he
the
said
team
he
is-
couldn't play because it was too much of an advantage over
Advantage,
the
yeah.
team.
So
yeah.
I couldn't be.
So you didn't play the first
But
game.
the thing is, you weren't even like riding the bench. Like you just wasn't there at all.
Well, sorry, I'm
'Cause
too
I-
busy. I had to be in Monaco in 15 minutes.
Y'all don't remember episode 2 when he was talking about
Monaco.
stats?
Can you even make Monaco in 15 minutes? Is it a 15-minute flight? Caught you in your life.
Monaco it's a 15-minute drive to get to the airport, probably.
From here?
No.
Nah.
Yeah.
No.
So I just want to know what 15 minutes did you have to
Maybe
make it
the
to Monaco?
Opalaka airport. Did you go to that?
And what was the name of your manager? I didn't get
We're
the
not
name.
gonna talk
His
about
name is Kyle Georgia.
What?
Could you search that up for me?
Blonda, you're literally just saying stuff
Kyle
right now.
Georgia?
Yeah.
He's more low key, he's not really into the
You
Kyle
have a picture with him?
Georgia.
Because everybody has a
A
picture with
picture
your
with
manager.
Can we move on? Every episode you talk about the center.
I just wanted to know your
The
stats.
center
That's
that
it.
you will never be. Watch that in the blooper episode.
Oh no, I heard
Oh,
like the
school
ladies
news.
had a little auditorium thing.
Yeah.
Oh
Women
yeah.
empowerment, Black women
Mhm.
empowerment. It was actually really like.
It was
helpful.
nice.
How was that?
It was fun. Like the things that they were saying, especially what was the first? She was like the youngest one there.
She's a TT alum. Did
Yeah.
I say that right?
Alumni.
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 Alumni. Do you remember her name though?
Ashley.
Ashley. Yeah, she was talking about how she well, all of them work in a predominantly white environment. And they were just basically talking about like their experience and how they handle it. And one of the things that she said that stood out was like when she was hired for her job, she did bring black magic. And it was funny because she said she put a lot of people onto like shea butter and cocoa butter. She was bringing people Chef Creole.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's another thing which I thought I relate to most, because I don't know if you guys know, I wear my hair in an afro a lot. They say
she is. Yes, sir.
You know,
She's Afro woman.
She said that, you know, my hair is my crown and it's not a petting zoo. You know,
Yeah.
so a lot of people, when they see me with my afro, they like to touch, and it's like, I know you're interested, but
No.
it's disrespectful.
I like
I'm
that.
not an
Sorry.
animal.
Sorry,
that.
sorry,
Yeah.
because
No.
I'm guilty.
Yeah, that was a message to you.
Oh, so she didn't say that. You just wanted to get
No,
that
no,
off
she
your
did.
chest?
But I can't look at you directly. But I'm looking at you now.
Okay.
Don't touch my hair. It's not a petting zoo.
As I pull out my pick.
Well, the other lady that I liked, I forgot her name, but she was basically the right hand man to Michelle Obama. I really like the stuff that she talked about, because it was really just, she talked about how at first she wasn't comfortable with how she, like, how do I explain it? She was, I wouldn't say she was bouncing from place to place, but she just wasn't comfortable with what she was doing at the time career wise. And I guess she was speaking with Michelle, and she was just saying a lot of like motivating stuff that really made me want to.
Like, she kind of said like she wasn't really comfortable being like the only person who looked like her.
Yeah.
in her,
She was talking about how at
workplace.
one point she wanted to get faux locks, and she was like, she doesn't know if that even looks professional or presentable. And I mean, she did it anyways. So
Yeah, because it
Shout
is
out to
like,
her.
you know,
Shout out to all of them.
especially like
Yeah.
for black women, when we do want to wear these certain hairstyles, it's like when we do it, it just
it's frowned upon.
it's portrayed as ghetto or unprofessional. But then when a white person does it, or
It's cute
someone
and cool
yeah, it's like
and
a
hip.
fashion sense. Like, oh my gosh, wow, that's so cool. Like, it started this trend, like Kim K with the braids, like they were talking about.
There's a
Oh,
difference
yeah,
between
yeah, yeah.
appropriation and appreciation.
Yes, like Kim K did not come up with those braids.
And she called it what, boxer braids, something like
yeah,
that.
they try to come up with a new name when she's like, no, it's cornrows.
No.
We've been having
No,
cornrows.
sweetie.
I have cornrows under this wig right now. So,
Can you show us?
like, I mean,
You still can.
Okay.
I mean, I can't because I can't install it. So,
But that's dope. That's mad dope.
Just one
Yeah.
time.
a little peek.
Okay.
That's like an orange. Don't do that.
Oh my god.
it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny.
It wasn't.
It wasn't funny.
I cracked one joke about her, and she's butthurt.
Stop. We don't want her to get offended and like start
Yeah,
crying
she start
on
breaking
camera.
down on the episode.
I don't know how to react. I don't know if I
Like,
like.
explain it. So the same thing y'all did, we did it, but like for the guys.
Oh, okay.
So there was actually a CEO of Slip and Slide Records,
Ted Lucas. I remember
Ted
his name.
Lucas. We had a TV show host. No. He was a news anchor.
He was an
right?
anchor, yeah.
Yeah, news anchor.
Jawan Schrader.
All right, so we had a news anchor, Jawan Schrader. All right. So So we had a news anchor by the name of Jawan Schrader. He was actually really very, very, motivational, actually.
Yeah. It was
But
mad dope. For
so-
NBC, I think.
yeah, we had Marcus Bright, leader of the 5,000 role models.
Okay,
I said leader.
Okay.
Leader. All right, we had we had Denard Mitchell, man, professional speaker, man. Like listening to all of them, they were very motivational. My
was
favorite
dope.
personally was Ted Lucas, cause he even said it. He was like us, walking around with the goals. Everybody wanted goals and stuff.
Yeah, the golds. It's not professional. Let's just say that.
It's
Because
not.
he
I
wore
like
them,
it.
but then he stopped wearing them because he started going to movies
Yeah,
and stuff. And it's
had to
just
get
not-
professional.
But even that too is like another thing. Like, but when someone of another race does it, it's like a fashion
cool.
sense or it's just trending. Like, but when we do it, it's ghetto. It's
Do you really think
unprofessional.
I think in a business room though.
Yeah, I don't
if
think they ever-
anyone
they'll-
was
not
to wear
okay,
those.
like in a business setting, but I'm talking about like other settings, like for
Just
instance,
out in public.
yeah, like for us, it's just
Oh, I see what
you're
they're
saying. I don't think-
hoodlums. They have no education.
I don't think they'll see a white person with goals and think.
I mean, you would be
like,
surprised. There's a lot of people who think like that, and I've
So you've seen a white person full young mouth.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
a lot
I
of
have.
times.
No. Your thing is full young mouth, and he's just.
No, I'm not
Going
saying
ahead
me
for himself.
personally, but I'm saying like other
There's
people
other
who
people
are
who
like
think
biased.
like
Like they
that.
think, okay, well, if a black person does it, okay, it's automatically unprofessional, it's automatically ghetto, and they're hoodlums and this and that. But when a white person does it, it's just they don't get that same reaction. It's a different reaction,
So what reaction do you get?
more positive one. Like it's a fashion sense to them.
Are you talking
It's something
from?
trendy.
Are you talking from experience or?
Yes, I'm talking from experience.
So I mean, you be judging them.
No, I'm saying
No,
experience on
Gibby.
me.
So they
Like, she
judge
gets
you.
judged.
Like say
Yeah.
okay, say for
I see what she's saying.
Say if I were to wear.
I see what you say, but you don't.
Oh my
but do you
gosh,
wear
I got
goals though?
No, I'm not talking about just goals.
It's
in
not just
particular.
goals,
I'm
it's
saying
just
like
all
what.
I'm talking about a gold.
Okay, but with golds too. But I'm not saying necessarily golds in particular.
Cause I doubt you'll see a white person with gold and just think they're just like.
You'd be surprised.
That's what I'm saying. Gibby.
You'd
You have
be
to, like,
surprised.
I'm pretty sure. I kind of see a lot of white people with golds in their mouth,
I'd go
and
to
they
a
don't
white
get judged
school.
pretty
I've
well.
been to a
Yeah,
white
I'm just
school.
letting y'all know
I
right now.
volleyball for a white school.
But yeah, that talk was definitely dope, and it was cool just to see them be transparent and vulnerable and letting us know what to expect and what we can overcome and what to learn from them. So yeah,
That was nicely worded.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, such a big vocabulary for a small person.
They just don't stop.
This is constant.
So what it is next episode is here?
You might as well like get out in front, start fighting, like
Might as well get the tape line now.
You know what?
start throwing
Just
hands.
let it out, 'cause
I'm
I
waiting
don't-
for it.
Just let it all out this episode.
Let it all out on episode
No,
3.
because it's not gonna be funny. But I have so much to say to you.
Oh my
so
God.
much.
What have I done?
Like,
what have I done to
You're
you?
just
Guys.
okay. We're back, you guys, and today I had with me Dr. Weaver. She's
Ooh,
one of the teachers
My
at Turner
favorite
Tech.
teacher in this school,
Greeting.
the best.
So how you doing, business? Well, doctor, excuse me.
Don't ever forget that.
Don't you
Don't
ever
ever forget
forget.
My
that.
bad.
I'm
Okay.
well. And yourself?
I'm doing mighty swell. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, so I think it was last week we had an event in the auditorium. It was just like kind of like a Black woman empowerment thing. I think you were running it or in charge of it.
Yes, I was the moderator. Mrs. Shipman was the coordinator of the event.
Okay, so just asking you like how you felt about it and like your thought about it at the end of it and what they were saying.
Okay, well, I thought it was a great opportunity to have our students actually not necessarily network, but interact with professional women of African descent. I particularly liked the questions that we asked because oftentimes with panels, people ask questions that are not necessarily relevant to the generation that they're talking to. And so we specifically crafted those questions to address concerns such as what does it mean to be natural right now? We know that's a big thing amongst young women of color and things of that such. So I like also the composition of the panel. We had 2 alumni. And their ages range from early 20s to late 40s. So it was a nice range. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a nice little event. Do you did anyone like stand out to you, like any of the guests that were there and what they were saying?
Well, I mean, they were all dynamic. First off, let me say that. However, I would say that the young lady who has her own business, queenthings.com, I think that her name was Ashley. Yes, Ashley stood out because she was young, she was vibrant, she was woke. All of the things that I encourage my young ladies to be.
Yeah, that was one of the things we were talking about before that, when I relate to her because of her hair situation. Like I wear my hair in an afro a lot, so it's like it does get annoying when people want to touch and just like say, oh wow, it's so pretty, and it's like I'm not an animal, so it's like don't pet me or like touch me like if I'm one. So
she spoke a lot about microaggressions, right? And so my students are well versed on that topic, so it was just everything was appropriate.
Okay, do you think you could relate to one of them, like with their personal situation? Because they were talking about how they felt uncomfortable, not necessarily being the only Black, but one of the few Black people in their field of work. Yes, I said
when I began teaching, I started out on Miami Beach, and the work environment was predominantly, non-people of African descent. And so, that was interesting, but it does make you step your game up because you realize that people are always watching. And that was my first opportunity to embark on leadership responsibilities. And so it trained me well. And now having brought those those talents to the inner city or to urban settings. You know, I can see how I benefited from learning how both sides of the spectrums work.
So what were you hoping that the audience from our event were taking away from?
I had hoped that we would realize how diverse we are as a gender, you know, as women of African descent. So, you know, if your aspirations, you know, lean towards, you know, being an entrepreneur, or if you know, were considering fields such as law or law enforcement, that you saw representatives of yourself, you know, that representation. Also, I was hoping that people would take an opportunity to network. I know time was a little limited, but I think that these are great forums for you to be recognized, you know. And I think that some of the questions that were asked by our student population was stimulating enough, hopefully, that those groups will want to come back out again at some point and, you know, maybe even mentor our young ladies. So I was hoping for you all to do exactly what you did, and that would shine your light, and for that light to captivate, you know, the speakers.
Okay, so what advice would you give to any young girl out there who's aspiring to be a part of some type of industry that they're not really accepted in, or really have any previous, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but
well, because you've been my student for 3 years, I get you. I would say to, you know, first of all, I always encourage my students, regardless of what career you're considering, to ask yourself one essential question. How does this relate to my community, and how can I help to change things in this particular career to benefit, you know, other women of color that are coming up after me? And so I think, you know, that takes courage, right? That takes a lot of intuitive, intrinsic work. And I think that, you know, once you move with that type of energy, that, you know, you're gonna make an impact. You're gonna stand out. It's okay. When I did my first degree is in philosophy, I was the only person of color, not black woman, but person of color in my graduating class, right? And so that meant that I was in a field that was predominantly surrounded around white men, but I couldn't care less, because I knew what my purpose there was, right? And so I would just say, you know, walk with your purpose, always at the forefront, and also remember that we're a people who believe in collective security, so to speak. So we should always be thinking about how to better ourselves. And hey, once you do that, I think everything else is gravy.
Okay, that's nice.
Was there anything that the speaker said that really stood out to you? Anything at all?
Well,
like stood out the most?
Yeah, they said a lot of really, you know, prolific things. I think I when I think about China, the assistant for Michelle Obama, when she spoke about, you know, Michelle even having insecurities, right? And how that gave her encouragement, because, you know, we look up to certain people, but we never know their backstory, right? And so, you know, that just, you know, makes one confident that they too can overcome whatever insecurities you have. You know, listen, it's about waking up in the morning, looking in the mirror, putting on your favorite song, and just doing the thing, whatever it takes, right, to make you go out there and face the world.
Thank God for another day.
That's dope.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, Dr. Weaver, for taking the time today to, you know, let us talk to you and ask you a couple questions. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all for having me. I think this is a great project. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. What's up, TT? Today we have our principal of the Prestigious Turner Tech, Mr. Frazier. Back again.
Yeah, as stated previously, last week we had our male panel discussion about
very motivational.
Yeah, very motivational about black empowerment in the male field.
I agree.
And yeah, it was just really eye-opening and powerful.
So my question is, what did you get out of it?
me personally, one thing that really stood out to me, I believe Ted Lucas mentioned it. He said, "Don't let nobody outwork you."
Yes, this for me too.
And the
Like
thing
when he
is,
said
you constantly hear that quote, but for some reason on that particular day, it was just like, yeah, like just don't let.
I hear that
nobody outwork
quote.
you.
Oh, I bet. I hear that quote, but okay, what was his name? The news anchor. Jawan, when he said that he went to high school, he had a D average.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that D average.
You felt that one.
Yes. Like he said he had a D average, right? But he never gave up. Like he always kept going. Look at him now, a news anchor. Talking about Parkland, talking about the Parkland shooting, that tragedy.
Well, I mean, for him, I mean, you can't judge a book by its cover. I mean, his brother was powerful, number one, but there's two things that stood out for me that I thought was very important. One of them was Dr. Bright said it, and he talked about not being docile. I don't know if you guys caught that, about not being a docile man and being aggressive and relentless towards your goals. I thought that was really important. And then the other piece, the same person, and so Mr. Brooks moderated, and I was supposed to be off to the side, but I came back for the simple fact that I heard the news anchor, and he was talking how he saw the students slouching and sitting in the seat and half asleep and not paying attention. So he doesn't know, the people at the school like I do. So I had to stand there and say, this is the prestigious William H. Turner Tech. I mean, everybody in here has a 3.3, a higher, and 99% graduation, and 95% this year. And so I had to read all of those things off. But I got from that is you guys, have to be accountable for how you conduct yourselves, because that's somebody's perception, and perception is reality. So it's the way that you conduct yourself and your disposition is really important, because people don't know you like I do. And so I think it's important that you guys are accountable with taking care of your brothers and the other men in the building, and uplifting them and making sure that they don't fall into that kind of category again. That the next time we're in some sort of forum like that they stand out and they represent themselves as Turner men, as who they are, and don't sit back and assimilate to the masses. Be who you are. Claim that. Be unapologetically great. Claim it at all times.
Yes. Another thing that stood out to me was when I forgot his name, but the leader for the 5,000 role models, Dr. Bright, when he started to get emotional. That part is powerful because I feel like in today's world it can get really hard or extremely rare to even see a black man break down, and for him to be that vulnerable and transparent on stage, it really shows that where he was coming from and how genuine he was about what he was saying.
I mean, innately we're all protectors as black men, naturally, and so that fatherhood instinct is very strong, and to hear him talk about his journey and the things that he was going through, it was a powerful thing. But as always, they come out with the deadbeat father and all of those narratives, and just to see someone, trying that hard to be engaged in his kid's life was refreshing.
70 trips.
Yeah, 7 trips, maxing out credit cards. Right. So
12.
That was big, but I enjoyed it, and again, just for the simple fact that you guys were able to see and hear those things, and then your response afterwards was amazing.
Different stories.
So thank you guys for being attentive, man. I was really proud of you guys in there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Frazier, for again taking the time out of your day to answer a couple of our questions and just talk about the male panel and how it helped you and inspired you and these two gentlemen right here. We appreciate it. So
all right, Eagle soar.
Okay.
Get it poppin'.
Okay, you guys, that's it for episode
3.
Episode 3. Don't forget
Episode
to comment,
3,
like, and subscribe to TT Talk. I'm your host again,
Turn
Keziah.
on post notifications. You want to watch us.
Watch the previous episodes. The show is only gonna get better.
But wait, guys,
Going up
don't
from
forget, if you want to join us on TT Talks, hit us up at
Fame.
We are Fame. That was so
7.
We're
We're not done at
gmail.com.
That was
gmail.com.
so unsmooth. So unsmooth.
You always trying to be so cool.
You try. Anyways, guys, subscribe to our channel.
Bye.
See you.